If you believe any of the 7 money myths we are going to discuss today, you are believing in lies and burning your money and setting yourself up for disaster. But that's why you come here to this channel, to learn the truth about money, so you break apart from myths like these and learn how to make your money thrive instead. And I believe everybody can have financial freedom and retire early despite all the lies that you've been told. So if you want to take control of your life, I'll show you the very real way and alternative to retiring early and financial freedom. So make sure you're subscribed, because they want you working forever and I want you to be completely free from this mess. So money myth number 1 is that all debt is bad. Now look, I'm not trying to go against Dave Ramsey or any of those other folks out there who kind of preach all debt is bad. That he's right. Most people can't handle debt, but that does not mean that all debt is actually bad and that you cannot strategically use debt in order to actually build wealth, start a business, expand a business, and a lot of other things like that. So the first part is actually learning how to control debt in the first place. And then of course, the second piece is understanding what good debt is. So for example, putting down 30%, 40% on a commercial property that is going to produce income in the future, that's not necessarily bad debt unless you just buy a bad deal and you have no idea what you're doing. But if you understand how to use debt strategically, it can be an incredible asset that really grows your wealth with very, very low risk, and definitely keeps you far, far away from all those horror stories that you hear. Now, if you're just using your credit card to buy whatever the heck you want, that's terrible debt. I agree. Same exact thing with buying that new car that you want that's going to immediately depreciate 30 or 40% whenever you drive it off a lot. That's poor debt as well. But strategically using debt properly can absolutely lead to expanding your businesses, expanding your business portfolio, and expanding your real estate assets as well, among other things where debt can be used strategically. Money myth number 2, investing is risky. I don't know why so many people believe this. The reason why investing seems risky is because, unfortunately, people do not take the time to actually learn how to invest. Everybody wants the easy button, but the reality is, just like learning anything, a hobby, a sport, your profession that you do, it takes time, effort, and work in order to get good at it, in order to actually understand how to do it properly. The 2 most riskiest things that I see people do is 1, not investing at all. That is far riskier than investing. And number 2, actually not learning how to invest in the first place, which of course leads to disaster. It leads to people buying houses at the height of the housing market right before it crashed during the great financial crisis, or buying all the hype run, penny stock craze, whatever the heck all that crap was in 2021, instead of understanding that's all trash and it's all going to come down. If you're going to invest in those ways, then you're right, it's absolutely risky. If you're not going to invest at all, that is absolutely risky as well. But learning how to properly invest is not risky at all. Money myth number 3, you will make more money next year. It's one that I hear often from a lot of folks, friends, family, everyone. Basically, when we sit down, we talk about investing, we talk about doing something different with their money. Instead of changing what's going on right now with what they have, there's the assumption that, oh, I'm going to make more money next year. I'm going to get that promotion next year. Oh, I'll invest more next year. I'll put more into my 401k next year. I'll do my company match next year. Everything is always next year, which of course then the next year comes, and then of course it's next year again, and so on and so forth. And more importantly, there's no guarantee you're going to make more money next year, or that you're going to do anything next year, or that you will be in a better situation next year than you are right now. Especially if you aren't doing anything on the side, taking on a side hustle, starting that second business that might be able to replace your current job right now, and all those other things like that. Most folks are not doing that. Therefore, the idea of you'll make more money next year is, kind of a 50-50 proposition at best. And even if you do end up making more money next year, statistically, you may or may not even be keeping up with inflation, meaning you're not making more money the next year, even if you got a 2% raise. So it's more myth than reality that you're going to make more money next year. Money myth number 4, more money means better money habits. It's another common trope that I hear among everybody that I try to help with this particular situation. If they just had more money, they would have better money habits. But that's not true. I have friends that had bad money habits when they made $50,000 and they now make $500,000. Some of them actually make 7 figures plus after bonuses, and they still have absolutely no money at the end of the year. Bad money habits at $50,000, at $20,000 are not going to magically solve themselves if you magically made $100,000 or $500,000 or even 7 figures. If you don't have good money habits today, no amount of money is going to solve your money habits in the future. That's obviously proven. 90-something% of all lottery winners end up broke after a specific period of time. The amount of money you make has virtually zero to do with having good money habits. So having more money does not magically solve your bad money habits. Money myth number 5, money is scarce. If you operate from a position of scarcity with money, you assume that in order for somebody to make money, you have to lose money, and that if all of a sudden you give this money up, you can never make more and it's just gone forever, and a lot of other things like that just aren't true. The reality is the governments print money every single year. Banks print money every single year. Heck, if you loan money to a friend, you just technically printed more money out there into the economy. Money is infinite. Your time is finite, but yet people waste time, which is the only finite thing that they have, and then they believe that money is finite, when in reality, it's the only thing out there that's basically infinite. I can win, you can win, everybody can win at this stage if you view money as infinite, and if you do and take action to actually grab your part of that infinite money. But if you view it as scarce, you'll basically hold up, you won't invest, you'll be so afraid to lose it that you won't even take on good risk, because in your mind, it's a bad risk because you can't ever make more money. And if you are going to make money, you've got to take it from somebody else, and nobody's going to give up money without a fight. And it's just not true. Money is virtually infinite. It is absolutely not scarce. Money myth number 6, small investments don't matter. It's a common thing, and I understand it completely. Whenever you just invest, oh, I can only invest $100 a month into the stock market, you think it's not going to go anywhere. And you think, that's not really worth it. I'm never going to get wealthy off of that. But when I hear that, I understand that person does not understand the beauty of compounding. Compounding can turn that habit of $100, which does eventually, if you're taking steps to improve your money loops, to cut down on expenses, to increase your income, all those sort of things like that, it does turn into 200 and then 300 and so on and so forth as you kind of move through your journey. But you will be surprised as to how a small investment a long time ago can turn into massive gains into the future. For example, a very small investment in Apple, for example, back in the early 2000s, not even going back to the 80s. Back to the 80s, it's crazy. Or the 90s is crazy. But just going back to the early 2000s could net you 7 figures today. You didn't have to do anything. All you had to do was just invest and let that money compound out over time, and let those companies perform and do the work for you. There are a myriad of online calculators in there where you can punch it in and see exactly what $100 every month compounded just at the rate of return, 10% rate of return if you want to just do, basic stock market returns over the course of years, and tell me if that little bit of money doesn't make a big difference over the course of that 30 years. And money myth number 7, you can save for retirement later. Going right along with the theme that we just talked about, compounding, which of course, the earlier you start compounding, if you start in your, as soon as you graduate high school there, man, you are so much further ahead of your peer group by the time you're at retirement age. It's incredible. So obviously, the earlier you start, the easier it is. But the fallacy that most people fall into with this particular myth is they assume, well, whenever I finally get that next promotion or the next raise, then I'll start saving for retirement later. That's when I'm going to be ready. That's when it's time. Well, one, you're giving up on right now, which means you're basically giving up on your best opportunity to have millions in the future. And 2, because you're not used to saving that money now, what makes you think all of a sudden later on you're going to start magically saving it? That money habit, like we talked about earlier, is already bad. That's how people surprise wind up to, oh gosh, man, I'm almost 60 here and I don't have any real money for retirement. What do I do? How should I plan this out? That is a disastrous situation to be in, but you guys are in luck. That's exactly what this channel about, is turning that situation from a disaster into something that is absolutely going to have you thriving and able to retire. And it's going to be weird, guys. It's something we're going to kind of talk about over the course of the next 6 months or so with this channel. It's going to be something different. It's going to absolutely be blacklisted by society, and it's something that's going to be completely unconventional. So make sure you're subscribed so that way you don't miss that content, because I'm telling you guys, they don't want you to know this. They want you working forever. And if you just fall for these money myths and you don't want to actually look at alternatives to achieving financial freedom and early retirement, or just retirement at all, then you're going to be lost. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.